Okay, for those of you that have not been following my channel, this is the transaxle from a 216 John Deere tractor. It is a 2300 transaxle. It is stuck in second gear apparently. It's a new to me tractor, so I'm going to try and repair this rear end. First thing you're gonna have to do is undo your cotter key. This is obviously a harmonic balancer puller. I'm gonna see if I can get that thing off. One thing to keep in mind is make sure you have a clean place to put your parts so that you can keep them together, and make sure my cotter keys and my gears all stay together. Alright, next step is you have to get this piece off of here. In order to do that, there's a snap ring inside here. Then we're going to have to gently hammer this off. Then we'll have to take this tube off. And we're going to stand it on end because we have to take out all these little bolts going around to separate the transmission. Okay, an old school trick for you. This thing is seized on here real good. What I've been doing is heating it with a torch, melting wax in the end. The bubbles indicate that the wax is being boiled. When that cools off, it'll suck that wax straight down in between the two metals and it'll allow me to pull it apart. Alright, I got the rear end sitting in my vise. Makes it easiest to hold things in place. I've taken out all the bolts all the way around. As you notice, I got the shaft out of the top. Shaft isn't supposed to come out. The end of it's supposed to come off of it. Sitting down there. I'll take care about that in a few minutes. In here is the shifter linkage. This piece here is supposed to be up here, and that piece is supposed to select back and forth and stay in those little grooves. There's supposed to be a ball and spring that hold into those little grooves so you can select your gears. This one, that spring is shot or gone, one of the two. So now I'm going to have to open it up and replace that. Alright, now I've popped it loose by putting a board on here and tapping it with a hammer to crack it loose. Because there's pins on here. They have to line up with the pins. There's the bottom of it, or the top of it, whichever way you look at it. All the gears and everything in here look beautiful. So I'm just going to set that on a rag on my bench. This little piece right here, as you can see, if you can see, that moves the gear up and down on the shaft. Back here, moving that gear up and down. And it's supposed to lock in the different positions. There's first, there's second, and down there that should be reverse. Now in order to fix that, take that out of there. Might have to take this whole assembly out at the same time. I'll take this other one out too. Looks like it. Well, this one has to come off. I can take that one out. It goes like so. This one comes out. There's actually a little clip on here. I haven't seen that before, but it's got a little clip there to stop it from going too high up. that comes out like so. Now there's a little hole in here. In that little hole on the other side, there's supposed to be a ball bearing and a spring. If I take that out, I look in there. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. There's a little ball bearing and a spring in there, and that ball bearing isn't coming out. It's not springing back out where it's supposed to be. So I got to force that out and put in the new ball bearing and spring. And that'll fix the transmission issue. Alright, back to the bench here. Let's get that ball out of here. There's a little steel ball. The spring didn't move. See if I can get it out of there with a pick. Or it's coming out in pieces. That would explain it. That explains a lot. I think that's all of it. Yep, I don't feel any more in there. So, looks like the ball is reusable. Springs, they are over 16 bucks a piece here in Canada. The part number is M40350. And of course, if I'm going to replace the one, I'm going to replace them in the other as well. Okay, after being rudely interrupted by a telemarketer, now I can try and get this back in here. Spring first. If I can get it in there. Spring is sitting. Put the ball in place. And it just rolls out the other side. Put the ball in place on top of the spring. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. I got the ball sitting there on top of the spring. Now I have to push that ball down with the screwdriver. And while I'm doing that, oops, try not to lose the ball. Don't want to lose that thing. That's over $4 a piece. I gotta go searching now. Alright, I found it. Let's try this again. This time, I'm going to change up my strategy slightly. Unfortunately, you guys aren't going to be able to see what I'm doing. Because I'm going to end up putting the end in here just slightly. Push the ball down. Now, oh yeah, the ball didn't stay. You can see it now, she'll work, but the ball didn't stay in there. Let's try that again. It's another option. There's a hole here for the push on it, but then I need to use a center punch or a nail set. I don't know if I have one that's that skinny. I'm gonna go take a look, see if I have a nail set that skinny. All right, found a punch. You can see I'm able to compress that spring enough. Now I'll try and put that onto the shaft. That's a try. Might be easier to do it this way. There we go. Now it's locking in place. Locking in place really good, actually. And that should be neutral. There's low. That should be neutral there. Now time to assemble it back together. That part anyway. I'm going to work on this one, get the spring and change it in that one, and I'll reassemble. Okay, for reassembly, both your selectors have to be in neutral so they line up with this carrier. You have to be able to put your shifter fork in there later. I don't know if this phone is going to focus for me. But yeah. All the gears go back in the way they were. I'm going to have to take my differential apart and put my shaft back in there once I get my shaft off of the other end. I'll show you that when I have it all back together. Okay, upon closer inspection, once I realized I had those lined up, I got a broken tooth on this gear. I'm going to have to take that off. I'm going to weld in some steel and grind out a new tooth. Then I looked over here at this one, at one tooth here missing, one tooth there missing. So I'm going to have to do the same thing with that one. So I have 3 teeth to rebuild. Then I can put this thing back together. Well, after a little bit of time off camera, I welded in these couple of teeth that were broken off. There's one there, there's one there that were broken off. But they spin quite nicely. They mesh together well. Good to reassemble. Alright, I'm now resorting to a 12-ton press to get this hub off of the axle. We'll see if this works. Finally got some movement. Woohoo! Finally, I have success. I've got the hub off the end of the shaft. Now, because that clip came off on that end of the shaft, inside the differential, I got to pull the differential apart and put that all back together again. The fun begins. Alright, I'm going to start by cracking all these loose. They're 7/16, so crack them all loose. Oh, before I lose it, on the top here, there is a thrust bearing, a bunch of little horizontal needle bearings. Can't lose those. Those are really expensive to replace here in Canada. Not so bad in the States, but here they cost a fortune. Almost everything here costs a fortune nowadays, but hand over for the backside. Very level. So you can run these all have block bars on. Don't lose your block bars. No block holes there. I'll take your clearance and spacing inside here. Okay, make sure your bolts aren't loose. Right, pull it out. Tap. Pops it loose. Inside of that bore looks nice and clean. No damage. And back side of here, there's another washer. Remember where that one goes. There's our Deere. I don't see the clip at the moment. There it is. Oh, of course, the clip is jammed up inside there. There we go. There's the clip that popped off. I'm going to attempt to flatten that back out and reuse it. We'll see if I can do so. Alright, after a little bit of playing around, I have the transmission all back together finally. My input, she's in neutral, so spin that, nothing else happens. But my brake, this is coned inwards, it's supposed to be flat. So I have to change this out and put my brake assembly together, and I can put it back into the tractor. Alright, brake assemblies. This is what was on the tractor. Very coned. The band is pretty much totally gone. This is what I'm replacing it with. This is actually has brake shoe in it. Band is all intact. That's straight. What do you know?